Hello, listeners. Today's episode is for everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, please rate and subscribe. In today's session, I have a special guest, Nick DeLuca, who comes on and tells us all about his award-winning screenplay, Gingers, and gets into the discussion of filmmaking and his experience and his past and his journey in creating short films and eventually hoping to make a feature presentation out of this award-winning screenplay. Welcome to IPA Sessions. Welcome to IPA Sessions, a podcast for independent artists. This is a place where we like to provide inspirations for practical application in entertainment. And today, your host, Kay Jacob, that's me, I have an amazing guest. He is a filmmaker, a writer, director. He has recently won an award for his feature screenplay, Gingers. And previously before that, he won a short that he directed and did some rewriting on called Lucky Penny. Today, I have Nick DeLuca. Nick, say hi.
Hi, everybody.
Nick, thank you so much for coming on today. I know we're going to kind of talk about your filmmaking process and, what it's like to write and direct and to have these great achievements under your belt. Could you kind of just tell me a little bit about yourself real quick?
Sure. I actually grew up in a small town in California called Cambria. It's over in San Luis Obispo County, about 2 hours north of Santa Barbara. If you guys ever been there, it's a fun little place to visit and a fun place to be from. But it is a small town. There's not much going on, and that's kind of where I started filmmaking too. Is me and my brother were just bored, didn't have much going on, so we thought, hey, let's get our video camera out. Let's start doing some things. And so in high school, we really started making some films and enjoying it, loving the process. And so when I graduated, I decided to head up to San Francisco, go to the Academy of Art College to learn filmmaking, and graduated, came down to LA, started kind of doing it down here on my own and working wherever I could.
Pursuing that Hollywood dream, huh?
Pursuing it. And I'm still pursuing it. It's some success, but we're always still pushing till we get to where we want to be, I guess.
Now, Nick, I know as a 9-to-5 job, to pay the bills, that you do work inside the industry because we actually met when we were PAs pre-pandemic. I think recently you've been doing AD work now, correct?
I've been doing some AD work. Yeah, I've moved up. I've been trying to do more of that than the PA work. I think I've kind of accomplished all I could as a production assistant. I've been working. It just was a key second on a Christmas movie that just came out on BET Plus.
Fantastic. Nice. I'm glad your hard work is finally paying off. I got done with my production assistant world and moved over into locations, but I'm glad that you took the next step in the PA world and made it as an assistant director. Congratulations on that.
Yeah. I don't envy you in that locations world. I've seen what you guys do, but if you can handle it, it's good for you. I don't know that I could do that, but that's good for you that you're able to do that.
That's how I felt about AD work. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't think I want this one.
Yeah, for the most part, I don't know any AD that loves being an AD. They're good at it and they do the job, but I kind of they always seem to want to branch out. They want to direct, they want to produce, they want to do that. I don't think there's anybody who's just this is the final step. I'm an AD and that's it. And so it's
actually perfect because it segues into my next question for you, which is you obviously to pay the bills, you do the Hollywood standard of AD work and you follow their guidelines. So that's how you pay your bills, I know. But with these shorts and these independent features that you work on the side, that you do have creative control, that you write and direct yourself, has that process started to pay off for you? Are you able to get any kind of financial gain from that? Or is it like most of my artists that I interview, and myself included, where you're putting more money yourself into it than you are getting back, but it's still something you love?
Right now I'm at the point where if I want to get something made, I have to gather money from myself, my friend, my family, and say, hey, I'm doing this little fun little movie and I need help, and they'll help me out. But I really am trying to springboard off some of these wins and say, hey, look, other people think I'm good. You should think I'm good, and maybe you want to donate some money to this and we'll make something together. And because I mean, we all got bills to pay, so it's like I'd rather use my money for the things I need in life instead of towards my art. But some say art is kind of part of you, so it's a balance. But yes, I'm mostly self-funded, but I'm trying to get out of that world and get other people to kind of join in on the art and help us out a little bit. And we can make some better, higher quality films with more money. And so I'm trying to push that and do more of that and make this to an actual career.
There you go. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, why don't you take us through a little bit of your process, a little technical how-to in relation to, if you want, kind of talk about these previous successes you've had with the award-winning feature screenplay that you wrote, Gingers, and then, of course, your directing that you did for the short Lucky Penny. You want to take us through that process and kind of how you got all that done?
Sure. I'll talk where. I guess it begins with writing, so we'll talk about the writing process. I just won. I won at it was the Atlanta Comedy Film Festival. I submitted my script Gingers with 2 exclamation points at the end for their comedy horror section, and it won, which was exciting because now I feel like, oh, I have some credibility. Other people that I don't know think my screenplay was good. Yay.
I think it's great too because horror comedy is one of my favorite categories, and films make it look so easy, but horror itself is tough to get out there and to write and bring to life. Comedy is the absolute hardest thing you'll probably ever write. And the fact that you achieved a combination of both and had success from it, that's impressive, man. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, that's always been my forte, my goal to make comedy works. And I've always been a fan of all the horror movies. I mean, me and my brother used to go to the video stores when they had those, and we'd go in and try to find.
I miss those.
We try to find like the worst movie we could find there to watch, and it usually was a horror comedy. Even though I don't know if the comedy was always intended, but we found some pretty good ones in there.
Just look for the trauma credits.
I love Trauma. I would.
Me too.
I would absolutely love.
It sparked James Gunn's career. I mean, and look where that took him.
That's true, and just so many people. I would absolutely love for Trauma to make one of my films.
Agree, 100% agree.
Lowest budget they could possibly muster. They make my films. I would just be honored to have a Trauma with my name on any credits.
Right, give me $100, throw Trauma on the display, put that name on my product. I'll get it done.
Yeah, I'm good. I've achieved my goals in life. I can go move to another career. All right. So anyway, back to the. I go off on tangents, but back to the process.
That's okay. So, hey, we're just here to have a good conversation. Go for it. Yeah.
So Gingers just was people ask me where I came up with the idea, and I'm not entirely sure. I just, like I said, I was a fan of all of the older horror movies where they literally can take anything and make it into a killer something, a killer eye, frogs. There's a movie.
Killer Tomatoes.
Ooh, Killer. Oh, I love both of the. Did they make more than one sequel? And then they made a cartoon series. But
the cartoon series, yeah.
I watched all of them. I love it. And one of the best theme songs.
I own the box set.
Oh, nice. One of the best themes from any movie ever. You can fight me on that. It really is one of the best. Except the Blob is up there too with theme songs that are amazing.
Of the Blob.
I love it. I had a CD with just a bunch of old theme songs from movies and TV shows, and I listened to those on repeat. And I love the music.
It's what we grew up on.
Yeah, and yes, I wanted to make one of those types of films, and I love redheads personally, but I know there's a strange group of people out there that are somehow scared of them. I don't know what they're afraid of, but they're scared of the red hair, and for some reason I just thought, hey, that would be a fun world to explore. Like, there's no reason to be scared of them, so let's give them a reason to be scared of them a little bit. Let's put these kids in a town full of redheads that are attacking them and see what happens. And Gingers was born. I just
it was like Children of the Corn with red hair.
Yeah, and I just. For some reason, I had a scene in my head that was kind of like the parody of the Michael Jackson Thriller video where he turns into the monster, in front of the girl and she's screaming. And I thought that would be funny to do that, except instead of him growing hair and all that, he starts freckles start going up his arm, his hair starts turning red, and she's just there screaming because this is like the scariest thing that could possibly happen if someone turned
That's
to
brilliant.
a redhead right in front of her. And that scene created the whole script for me, because I was just like, okay, what would lead into this scene, and how would it relate to the story, and why is this girl screaming? And so then I just had a whole movie in my head. And really the synopsis, I went down to write it, and it took me probably 2 days. It was just so easy to write, probably because I'd seen so many horror comedies in my life that this was just naturally just came out of me. And then then I like to take a couple of days off and like think about, like, okay, here's the story, and is it feasible to this synopsis I had? And so then, yeah, I think it'll work. And so then I went to script and started writing the script, and it took me maybe a week before I think it was 98 pages when I first rough draft, and said, great. I went through, read it, said, okay, let me do a rewrite, kind of cleaned up a few scenes, and got it down to about 102 pages now. And that's where it's pretty much been, just a few little fixes here and there. But yeah, it was one of the easiest scripts to ever write, to be honest, of all of them that I've done. So
you make it sound so easy. Now, has this been filmed at all, or was it just the written screenplay?
I haven't put anything on film yet. It was supposed to, I wrote a about 2-page thing for it to include in a pitch, which is kind of introduce it to anybody who wants to finance this film. Here's a little piece that we've shot to kind of show you what you're going to get. I guess proof of concept they would call it, or I was just thought of it as like a trailer. So we were going to shoot that. Pandemic hit, made things hard. I had a whole cast and crew ready to go, and things started falling apart, and I kind of just had to say, sorry guys, we gotta kind of put this on hold till things can get better. And everybody still seemed interested in being part of it, but I just kind of had to step away and see what else can work for now. But now with these wins and being included in these festivals.
Yeah, tell us about some of the festivals you've won.
First festival I won was not for this, but I won a couple years ago for my short film Lucky Penny. It was actually at the California Women's Film Festival, which is funny that I would win at a women's festival, but it was conceived by 2 women. It stars 2 women. They produced it. They wrote the original script they gave to me and said, "Hey, we want you to direct this." And so it was all women. I was just the kind of a worker bee for them. I kind of considered, even though I was a director, and I kind of came in and said, "Hey, here's a few things we can change to make this a little easier to shoot." Like just for example, there was a scene where they tripped in a bunch of paint, and they got paint all over themselves, and it was a funny scene. But I said, hey, why don't we change it to maybe mud? It might be a little easier to shoot, and continuity would be a little easier to keep track of that way, and you can clean mud out of a suit.
What's that saying? It's film what you know.
Yeah. And I did play in mud a lot as a kid, so I did know the mud. So just little things like that. And I really wanted, for some reason, I wanted a musical number in it. I don't know what reason I had. I just saw it and said, you know what? This needs a musical number. So I pitched an idea like, why don't we do this where the sprinklers go off on them and then they're running and it's set to music, and they loved it. So we tried it and ended up being one of the best parts of the film. And obviously other people liked it too, because it went to a few festivals. It won an audience award at one of them, and I got to see my work on the big screen actually here in Burbank. It was in the Burbank International Film Festival, and so we all got to go watch it being shown at the AMC theaters there. So it was that was kind of the highlight of doing the whole thing, was getting to watch my movie on the big screen like all of the professionals.
So that's one of the best things too, is having the ability to finally get to see the payoff, watching your work come to life. And it's also a great feeling because you accomplished that with other people. So it was a big team effort. So congratulations to you and to your team.
Thanks. Yeah, I've always thought of filmmaking as a team effort. I mean, I know a lot of people like, oh, they're the director, they're the DP, they're the producer, it's their film, but it's really not, because everybody's got a role on that. I mean, the producers aren't out there, putting up flags, and they're not out there stopping traffic, and they have their own work to do, and that's why they need the other people. And so it really is a team effort. And I'm glad you mentioned it as a team, and you win as a team.
Right.
I like to say you win as a team, you lose as a team, but I think just getting a film or TV show, or whatever, just made is a win, whether it's good or not.
Absolutely.
You win together.
And so I know that with Gingers, you just wrote the screenplay and you took us through that process and how that went down for you. But when you were getting together for the short film that you did for Lucky, something that you actually you shot, can you take us through a little bit of the technical building of how you formed a team? I know that you were actually brought onto the project by 2 other people. How did that whole process work for you guys? How did you form your cast and crew and got your modus operandi up and running?
Well, the cast was easy because it was written by the 2 girls that wrote it were playing the 2 main characters. So that was easy. And it mostly involves the 2 characters. They don't have any dialogue. It was sort of a play on a silent film. There's sound, but they never speak, which was kind of a fun approach to filmmaking. And
I bet filming without sound was the best thing ever.
Yeah. And it reminded me of my film school days, because I always had trouble getting sound equipment and everything. So I was just like, we don't need dialogue. Let's just shoot this. Let's just make it look good. And so it kind of I had a lot of experience in just act it out. You don't need to say anything. And so that might have been the reason they came to me. I'd known the girls. I was actually married to one of them, but the time, but I'd known both of them for a long time, and they just said, "Hey, we think you should direct this," and I said, "Hey, I think so too," and so they gave me the script, and like I said, I went through and just made a few changes. Said, "Hey, let's just make these couple things easier for us, because we're shooting it ourselves, and whatever makes it easy for us and looks good on camera, I think is the best option."
So this was real guerrilla filmmaking. It was just you and the 2 women?
At first, and then they one of the other, not my now ex-wife, her writing scene partner, her husband and his brother both are teachers over at the New York Film Academy.
Oh, wow,
and
nice.
So she suggested, well, why don't we bring them in, and they might be able to get some equipment. And I said, oh, well, that's perfect. Better the equipment, the better this film's going to be. And then it turns out, well, my brother-in-law, he also does a lot of cinematography. And I said, well, that seems perfect. Let's see what he can do. So we brought him in, and he's great. The 2 of them, I guess, make a lot of films together. So I kind of had a team that was already assembled. They'd already worked with each other and knew how they worked. It was just very easy, just kind of come in and say, okay, here's what I want. And they said, okay, we know how to get that. And we just kind of worked together, said, here's the things we need. We decided on a 3-day shoot, said, here, first day, second day, third day, here's when we're going to shoot this, and here's the equipment. They were able to get it through the school they worked at. So it all came together pretty easy like that.
Sometimes it just works out that way.
Yeah.
I love that you formed this team together, and it's almost like you're trying to put a puzzle piece together, and you let the pieces fit together, and it seems to work out wonderfully for you and for everyone else.
I find it easier, especially in filmmaking, just letting the pieces fall and making them work than trying to force it, like you really, really want this one person, but they're not available, and then all these other people are available, but this one person you have to move the whole schedule for. Sometimes it's easier just to say, okay, maybe we have another option, like who's available, that's the best, and who wants to be there, that's another issue to look at.
Yeah.
Because with filmmaking, it's just getting people to show up and shoot and get your day in is one of the hardest.
Challenge in itself, yeah.
Yeah, and it's also rewarding. And if you get people who are like, they're excited for the film and they want to be there, and they show up and they're on time and they're doing whatever it just makes my job as a filmmaker and directing, whatever, it just makes it so much easier, because then I just sort of say the words and watch it all happen, and it's exciting. It's fun, and it makes it worthwhile to be there and doing that, because you're making your art and people are helping you make your art, and it can all come together. If you're having to yell at people and complain and do all that, I just don't feel it's going to make for a good film.
Well, and like you said before, it's all about the teamwork. It's a team effort.
It is
and you're not much of a team if you're just yelling at your friends and your help and your coworkers.
Yeah, we've worked on the same sets where there was a lot of yelling and just people just not getting along, and it just really doesn't make it a fun environment. And really, we all got into filmmaking because we thought it would be a fun career to have. And if you're spending your entire day just getting berated and belittled, oh, well, that's not fun. Like that, there's no fun in that. Let's maybe look at a different career. Like I could be making a lot more money doing something else. I got into this because this is what I wanted to do. Like let's let everybody enjoy the process.
Well, speaking of, thank you for sharing your process with us.
Yeah.
And I want to move forward a little bit in the timeline. So you completed this short film. You submitted it to these film festivals. You won here in the Burbank area at the International Short Film Festival. Was there anything else that you won for this particular film?
California Women's Film Festival we won at. It was included in the Burbank Film Festival and was a finalist but didn't actually win.
Still a big achievement.
Yeah, but we got to see it on the big screen, and that was a win for me. Like it's
awesome.
Yeah, I still have it around here somewhere, but
hey, I have a YouTube channel up and running. If we could find a way to upload that bad boy, I'd be happy to put it on my channel for you.
It is on my YouTube. I'll see if I can get it to you, and we can get it. People can watch it. I'll just make sure everybody's okay with us releasing it. All the people involved are cool with everybody watching it, which I'm sure they are, because that's why we made it, so people could watch it and enjoy it.
It's always a good reason.
Yeah.
All right. Now, jumping back to your current project, which is the feature screenplay Gingers with 2 exclamation marks that you recently won at a film festival. How did you go about getting that put out there and pushing ahead with that project? And what else is lined up for that project? I know you discussed the possibility of trying to actually film it, but is there anything else going on?
Yeah, like I said, we were trying to shoot a trailer for it to include in the pitch. I have a whole pitch packet set to send to producers, anybody that wants to possibly finance it. I'm getting that together. I have a pretty good packet. I just wanted to include a video to it to show what people wanted to do. And as I was saying earlier, we had it ready to shoot. We were going to. The pandemic kind of messed things up because now you have to worry about testing and all that stuff, and it's something we weren't prepared for, so it kind of delayed the shoot. And I still was really excited that a lot of people were interested in doing the film. And when that happened, I kind of took some time off from it because I had to put on hold the shooting of the trailer. I still wanted to do something with it and still get the word out there. So I thought I'll just submit it to some screenplay festivals, film festivals, and see how it does and see if people are liking it or not. And so I looked around and I actually found there's a website called Film Freeway, and you can upload your script, any materials you have, and you just you keep it there as a project. I think you can do several projects you can include on there, and if you go on there and just look up film festivals, and you can filter out what kind of film festivals you want and all that, and it'll bring up a list, and you can look through the list and say, hey, do I want to submit to this? Is my script the right fit for this? And you can click on it, and it'll tell you different categories, how much to submit, it costs to submit, where the festival is, around when they will announce the winners. And so you just kind of do your best guesswork to say, hey, I think my script would go well with this festival. This is a good festival that I want to go to. I've never been to this city. Maybe if my script wins, it's a reason to go to this city. And so I just spent a good amount of time just looking at festivals, saying, hey, which one do I want to submit to? And submit to quite a few. Some were cheap, some were not.
So be warned, you may have to pay an application fee.
Yeah. Earlier you get them in, the cheaper they are. But you wanna make sure that your script or your film is in a place to submit earlier. Like if you need the extra time, say, okay, well the late deadline is this, but I need another month to look at this and make sure everything is how I want it. It might be worth paying the extra money just so you get the better version of the film or script into the festival.
It's really about just taking that chance on yourself.
Yeah, and I think it was the first time I ever said, you know what? I'm good enough. This script is good enough to win a festival. I think I can do it. And I did. Like I started hearing back. Like first one I heard back from was the Georgia Comedy Film Festival, and saying that I was being included in it. I was excited. And then I got another email saying, hey, you're a finalist for your category.
Fantastic.
Excited for that. And I said, well, I guess I better go visit it. I'd never been to Atlanta, so I thought it'd be a good reason to go to Atlanta. And I went and ended up winning at the film festival, which was
nice,
which was exciting. It was kind of like,
the trip paid off.
yeah, yeah. And we talked about teamwork, and I was like, I love having a team I work with, but this was extra exciting because it was something I did on my own. I did on my own free time by myself. Came up with the whole concept. I wrote it. I did all the rewrites.
It was good self-validation.
Yeah, and it was kind of a kind of moment like, okay, I thought it was good. Now these people think it's good too. I don't know these people, so I must have something about it that is about me, something about my writing style, my technique that other people like, and so now I feel more confident writing another one or making another film because now I kind of I know that people are going to react to it in a positive manner because I've had one and it was really my style, my way of writing, and so as long as I stick to that, I kind of have confidence that people are going to enjoy the films, and that's making money off it is nice, but really we want people to enjoy our art. I mean,
that recognition.
Yeah, people have asked me like, oh, if you were to win the lottery tomorrow, would you still continue doing what you're doing? And I always tell them, yeah, because I want to make the art. I work so I can pay the bills, but really it's pay the bills so I can make my art. So when people react positively, it makes it all worthwhile. It's like everything I'm doing is good because people are liking the art that I made, which is the whole reason I'm doing anything, is to get my films out there to be made.
Perfect.
Yeah. Anybody who's struggling, just saying they should just stick to it, because that's me. I've been for years not knowing what to do with my art, and now I'm kind of finding a groove, and so you just kind of just stick to it. It'll happen as long as you don't quit.
Right. Well, this takes me into the next little segment of questions here. And you may have answered a few of these already, but we're going to touch on some of these. The first one being, what's the biggest challenge you had to overcome? Or maybe you're even still working on it.
Funding. It is the biggest challenge for, I think, any filmmaker. Is like, even though you're passionate about your project and you believe in your project, and you know this is going to change all of filmmaking as we know it, and it's the best thing that's ever been written, there's still people out there that kind of go, nah, I don't want to spend money on that. And so just finding people that can have the passion that you have, and it is something I'm still struggling with now. Like, trying to get to people that like have money that they want to spend on this kind of thing, but they're getting hit by a lot of people that also want their money, and so, like I've said before, like a lot of it is self-funded, and it's a lot of artists when they're starting out, because that's the only way we can get it made, is just pay for it ourselves, and we never see the money back because they're short films with no money, and there's nowhere for that to really go get any sort of payback.
Right. You got to put money into it to make money. You got to spend money to make money, as they say. And it's been an issue and a big challenge for a lot of my guests on here who are all mostly self-funded. And, bit by bit, as time goes on, they do start to get a little bit of a payoff. But yeah, in the beginning, you're investing in yourself.
Yes, investing in yourself. And a lot of us artists went to college, and so we're also paying off our college debt, as well as trying to make our films, and non-ending.
I feel you on that one. All right, moving along. What is something unexpected you had to face? Maybe something you learned in the moment during your experience, having made these projects in the past, working on your current screenplay. You have a feeling of what to expect, but was there anything ever unexpected?
Well, I'm trying to think of something. I mean, I guess the most unexpected reaction I got was the positive feedback from such a silly script. Like, I was expecting a lot of people to be like, "This is the stupidest thing I've ever." So I guess
that's a great reaction to have. Those is positive feedback.
Yeah, it's just like, let a few people read it and they're like, "Oh, it's really good," and you're always kind of like, "Is it really?" And then, I mean, that was unexpected. Also, like, there is a lot of people in your personal, like your circle, that you don't realize how supportive they are of you. They're just their friends, their coworkers, whatever. And then when you do start getting a little bit of success, you start winning festivals, including in it, there's a lot of people that come by and say, "Hey, I'm proud of you. I knew you'd make it. I always saw it." And that was kind of really unexpected for me. There's a lot of people I haven't talked to in a long time, and they saw that I was doing well, and they came out and said, hey, I haven't talked to you in years, but I'm so glad to see you doing well, and I'm proud of you. And that's kind of, in this business that's all rejection, it's very
So
unexpected
much
to,
rejection.
yeah, it's very unexpected to get people to say, hey, this is awesome, and I'm very happy to see good things happening for you. And I don't know if that's the kind of answer you were expecting, but it
There's no right or wrong in this. It's all your personal experience.
I'm every time I write something, I'm expecting somebody to say, hey, this is crap, and have all sorts of like, this is wrong and this is wrong, and this doesn't make sense, and, and that's what the expectation is normally, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a professional. I'm not being paid, millions of dollars to make these films. And so the expectation is that people are going to put it down. And so getting people to say, hey, I like it, and I want to help you make it, is not expected at all. Like that's probably the biggest unexpected moment, is to have people look at you and support you after you've put all this work into it on your own. And yeah, it's surround yourself with good people, and that's what happens.
I don't think you could have said it any better.
Yeah.
Okay. As a filmmaker, what's a hard reality you've had to deal with and accept? Something discouraging that, you had to push through, or maybe you even resolved it? Perhaps it's a hard reality that you're still facing right now.
Well, we touched upon it. Rejection is a hard reality. It is. You love your film. The people who made your film or helped you make your film love your film. Not everybody will, especially me. People who've seen my works and read my scripts, and I kind of have a different sort of style, and it's not for everybody. I try to make it as fun for anybody to watch, but a lot of people are going to look at it and be like, "Who raised you? What is wrong with you?" And I kind of learned that that's part of the fun. It's part of the fun. Seeing the critics, the people they're gonna put it down, and I kind of say it's because they don't quite understand it, but that's part of the fun of filmmaking, is there's so many different kinds. But the harsh reality is like, not every audience member is gonna like your film. They're not all gonna understand it. They're not all gonna congratulate you. There's a lot of jealousy out there. You get a film made and it was the hardest thing in the world you had to do. Somebody else didn't get their film made, and don't understand why their film didn't get made, and there's a lot of jealousy, and they'll put you down, and you just par for the course. I've submitted my script to a lot of different places, and I actually one time I kind of laughed because I had submitted to a production company when they were looking for it. Sometimes I get a list of production companies, what they're looking for, and I saw they were looking for the same sort of thing I'd already sent to them, and they actually said, we don't want scripts that have this and this. We received a script like that before, and they were describing my script, like, these are the things we don't want. And I just sort of laughed. It's like, well, I guess they didn't like it. I don't know, but I was like, hey, I mean, I know they read it at least. Like, that's something. That's a hard thing to do. So, but
That's funny.
you kind of just have to laugh. Like, okay, it's not for you. Somebody else will look at it and go, I'm surprised someone didn't fund this earlier. This is great. And it's so the harsh reality is some people are just going to hate you no matter what. Maybe in a professional sense, hate, but it's just like they're just going to not like that you became a filmmaker in your life, and wish you'd become something else. And that's kind of the fun of it. It's a competition. Everybody makes their own film. Everybody writes their own stories, and yours is going to be very different than someone else's, and you're not going to like theirs. They're not going to like yours, and
It is what it is.
that's how it is in this business.
Right.
Yeah, that's the reality of it.
It's funny too, because the optimist in me kind of looks at it as, the fact that you're being rejected, or that someone's jealous, you're obviously doing something, and that's worth it.
Yeah, it's true, and it is. I've take rejection and jealousy, and I've learned to take it well and just kind of understand it better. But it really is kind of difficult, because it might be someone that you really like and respect, and they are talking bad about your film, and you're just like, man, I really wanted you to like it. Like, and it can be hard, but you just have to know that one person that doesn't like it, there's three that do. And You just got to
Absolutely.
focus on those three, and there's filmmaking for you. It's art,
Right.
and like not everybody understands Picasso or Jackson Pollock. Like these are artists that people look at and go, "How is this art?" Well, filmmaking's the same way, you know.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, we're going to move into a little bit more of the positive now. So tell
Yay.
me something throughout your experience as a filmmaker, what is your most valuable takeaway? Is there something that, helped you grow and improve as an artist?
The best things I've taken away from filmmaking, I think, is the people I've worked with. When I first
Great
started in this
takeaway.
Yeah, when I first started in this business, I was very. I think I still am pretty introverted, but when I'm on a film set, I'm not very introverted. And I think a lot of the people help me be that. They help me be comfortable being on a set and talking to people and being loud and saying what I want. And people are just very helpful with that. They're very encouraging to you. On any set, no matter if whether you're being a PA or you're directing or you're producing, people are just very good at just encouraging others to be the best they can be on set. I mean, you all have bad days where you screw up and you get yelled at and all that, but in the end, I feel everybody on the set wants to see you be the best you can be and thrive and be more than what you are now. So going back to something unexpected, that I did not expect from working on films is you kind of from outsiders always hear about like people backstabbing and talking down and stealing jobs and getting people fired from jobs for other reason, but for the most part, that's rare. Most people want to see you do well. If they see you struggling, they do come help you. I mean, yes, it's part of it because they want to get their day done and go home, but it's more than that. People want to see success of people they know in this business, and they like, especially people that deserve it, and they kind of get the bragging rights like, hey, I knew them when they weren't doing anything. And that's one of the highlights of that's why I still work on film sets, is because I meet some amazing people that I do want to spend time with. I mean, some of my best friends outside of work I've met on a film set, and we hang out and we don't even talk about films, but they're people I've met on film sets, and they're just great people that work on film sets. You don't hear about it as often. People like to talk about the bad things, but there's a lot of good people there that are just they're just there to work.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful takeaway. The fact that, you're seeing these positive relationships, friendships, partnerships forming within the industry where, you're being encouraged to be successful. And at the same time, it allows you to want to encourage them to be successful too. That's kind of how I feel about my show, is that, your success is my success. And when I see someone doing really well, I don't get envious or upset or jealous. It actually makes me very happy because it encourages me and inspires me to achieve that. Because if they can do it, so can I. And that's how everyone should look at it, is to support and to work off of one another. I think that's a great takeaway you have.
Yeah, this business can't run without all the people supporting you. Like nobody makes it on their own. It's all about the people supporting you. I mean, even me, like I'm not like a huge success, but what successes I do have, I got there because other people helped me get there. They believed in me
Absolutely.
enough to help me get there. I mean, even I was working as a PA, I got there because somebody else I met said, "Hey, I like you. Let me help you get into this business a little bit," and started putting me on film sets. And those people are just they don't get enough credit because they really are people that are actively trying to help other
The
people get.
backbone.
Yeah, and like you said, I try to give back too. Like I had a mentor helping me directing, and it's really great. Rob Bowman, he did like X Files, and I think he's on The Rookie now. He did Castle. He helped me when I was like just graduating film school. He said, "Hey, come on, I'll show you how to make a film," and kind of brought me on. And then a couple years ago, I actually had the opportunity to mentor a up and coming director for another directing program, and I jumped on it because I was like, someone help me, my turn to help back, and I hope that she down the road gives to someone else and shares her experience with someone else, and that's what makes this industry better. Like we wouldn't be have all
100%.
these great things come in the industry if people weren't helping each other to get there. If everybody was just after themselves, nothing would get accomplished. So,
Right.
yeah.
And we talked about the unexpected many times now, which it does happen. There's tons of expectations you have, and then you're always caught off guard by something you're not expecting. But I'd like to ask you about something you are expecting. I want to know, and you may have already answered this, but let's just elaborate again. What is something that you want out of your current project?
I just want to see it get made and out there and people see it. I mean, one of the takeaways I get from everybody who reads it or hears about it says, man, I really want to see this.
Yeah, I want to see it. Just hearing about it, I want to see this. This is right up my alley.
Yeah, and a lot of people say, I really want to see it, and I'm like, I really want to see it. Like, I want to see my work come in, and I think it's doable. I mean, I expect at some point somebody to look at it and go like, yeah, we need to make this, and it'll get made one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, simply as a fan of the genre, it's something that I would love to see because it feels fresh, it feels semi-original, and by semi, I just mean simply the fact that you are writing what you know. It feels like you're making this nod and these homages to the films that you grew up with. So it's something old that we've seen with a little bit of a twist. It's refreshing, and I like that. You're not making a remake. Yeah. You're giving a nod, and I really appreciate that. And that's why, for me, it's exciting. Like, I would love to see this brought to life on the big screen.
Yeah, and they don't make films like that anymore, so it would be fun to have somebody
They're rare.
say, hey, yeah, I want to see this made because we haven't seen these kind of movies in forever. And so I do expect in the industry it kind of taking a turn in that way. You're starting to see a lot of remakes or sequel series, like Willow's a good example. Like a movie made 30 years ago, they made a they made a TV show updating it now, and it's like they made a new DuckTales. Like, all of the things that were popular when we were kids, they're now making updated versions of them and sequel series and movies. And
the Santa Claus just became a series. The Mighty Ducks became a series. Dark Crystal became a series. Like, it's everywhere. It's happening everywhere. There's old sitcoms that are being rebooted, but instead of actually remaking them, they're continuing them, where it's like, all right, the kids from the sitcom are now the parents in the situation.
Yeah, and this trend, and it's because the people running the studios are the ones that were us as kids, and said these are the things we liked as kids, and I always wanted to work on it. So now we're gonna well, like Star Wars is a good example. Like,
it's a continuation, and I appreciate that. I don't mind rebooting a series and continuing something. I just don't like it when you see tons of remakes of the same stuff you've already seen. Just because it worked once doesn't mean it's going to work again. And half the time, they kind of ruin that movie magic that it held.
It was perfect for the time it came out. That's why it was a success, and that's what captured the magic at the time. Make it again and say, well, it already has this built-in audience is not really being fair to the original film, because it hit lightning at that time, because that was the time for it to do it. Like, my favorite movie is The Goonies. I love that movie. I have
classic.
So many collectibles for The Goonies and everything.
It's on the poster on the wall behind me.
They've been talking about making a sequel for 20 years, and everybody's like, oh, when's this? And I keep saying, guys, do not make this sequel. As much fun as it would be to see all of these characters out there, it was a 1985 movie. The kids that lived in 1985 got to look at this film and say, ooh, maybe I can find a pirate ship behind a rock somewhere. It captured the time. It captured the magic of that moment. Making it now would not be the same. The time is different. Like, maybe you could find a pirate ship now, but it's just not the same. And seeing these kids grown up is not going to be as exciting as seeing these kids when they were young and adventurers. It's not going to be what you want it to be.
No. But you know what? I'll say this. As long as they don't remake it, I'll watch a sequel any day of the week. Just do not remake The Goonies. Stay away. It is a beautiful film and a time capsule. If you're going to mess with it, give me a terrible sequel that I can at least watch with my kid and get him to watch the original.
Yeah.
Do not remake it.
See, they made this because the original was so good. Watch it. Yeah. Well, like Zemeckis has said, he is never going to give the rights to a Back to the Future remake as long as he's alive. So as long as Zemeckis is alive.
And it's a time capsule movie as well.
Yeah. It's these movies, they don't need a remake. Like, if they're so popular, if you think the younger generation is going to love them, then re-release them.
Yeah. Hey, Hollywood, you got fresh young writers right here,
Yeah.
Nick and Jacob. Look at us.
Yeah.
We'll help you out.
Yeah,
You need original
exactly.
concepts? We got you. They may not be perfect, but they're original.
I've been saying that for a while. It's like, look, there's a lot of original scripts that are just sitting on shelves. Why are we remaking films? They are not getting the same success they had originally. They're getting money and they're getting money back, but they're not what the original brought at all. Like, I just worked on Beverly Hills Cop 4. Now, I love all that series, but it's hard to believe that it's going to have the same impact that the original one had.
And I'm not going to lie, a part of me is excited to see the new movie, but you're right, it's not going to be as great as the original, but most aren't.
Yeah, well, I'm going to watch it, and from what I've seen of it, no spoilers, but from what I've seen, it looks like it's going to be a fun movie and in tune with the original one, and I think people are going to like it. But it's definitely not going to change the way we see movies like the original one did. You know, it's just a continuation. It's a sequel to a sequel to a sequel. It's just a...
Well, speaking of, our expectations, our nostalgia of classic films that we grew up with, a part of me wonders, man, what motivates you to do what you do? What's your drive, Nick?
I like entertaining, and there's just something about filmmaking that it's the same every time you watch it. This is exactly how I intended for this to be seen, and this for you to enjoy this, and it's going to be the same every time. The audience will change, and the audience's reaction will be different on every viewing. But making a film, I'm giving you this is what I'm giving to you and every audience exactly the same, and that's just kind of fun and cool. Where like I've done a lot of like live theater and improv and all that, and that's fun to watch. But every time that it's a different show every time. I mean, the line is different, the acting's different, and that has its own benefits and qualities and uniqueness that make it fun. But making a film, it has finite performance in it that a lot of people put their work into it that you can show off all at one time. And I think that's why I like to do it, just so I can entertain people. I can entertain several audiences the same way many times, and there's just something fun about that. And you can actually, having a film is kind of a way of showing off, like, look what I did. Like, you're sitting in the audience watching it, but it's like, I did that's mine, and you can show it off all at once.
Yeah, we've said it before on the show with other guests. It's leaving your mark.
That's a good way of putting it. You're just, when you leave this world, you'll still have that, and people can watch it, and 2 generations from now, some kid can watch your film and be like, wow, I really like this, and you're entertaining someone long after you're gone.
Huh. You'll forever traumatize future children of redheads. Great job.
Yeah, it's gonna stick to them forever. I mean, I always tell people, like, for Gingers, like, it's not going to be the huge blockbuster, but just think of all the memes that are going to be created from this movie. Like, there's going to be a lot out there.
Well, Nick, moving on to my final question for you, and this is an easy one. This is real easy. Is there anything you'd like to say to anyone that's looking to do what you do? Do you have any advice for filmmakers?
Don't give up. Believe in your dream. Just know that you have a unique voice that needs to be heard. If you're an artist, you need to do your art. You need to do it your way. Like I said with mine, people are gonna either love it or hate it, and that is part of the fun. Like, you want some people to really dislike your work. It's discouraging at first, but it's nice to know that there's people out there actually watching your work enough to dislike it. And it's one of the best feelings ever when you can make a film and have somebody watch it and like it or hate it. Just that process is rewarding in itself. And if you want to be a filmmaker, you go be a filmmaker. It's so much easier now than when I started, and you can do it. Anybody can do it. They just need to be passionate about it and don't give up. You're not going to make Citizen Kane right off the bat, but after a few, you have what you need. You have all the tools you need to make something that will change the world, and go for it. Yeah.
Beautifully said.
That's it.
Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us today, for sharing your personal journey and experiences. I really appreciate you telling us a little bit about your process and your team building and how you come together to make these projects happen. I wish you nothing but success and good luck with Gingers. I personally would love to see that movie get made. But right now, I'm giving this platform to you again. I mean, the show is about you. It's all about you. You've been talking forever, and I'm going to give you some more time to talk. please put yourself out there. If there's any way that we can help support you, follow you on Instagram or any social media you have, if you have a website, whatever you need to put out there, please put it out there. And I'll have links in the show notes for everyone listening.
Yeah, you guys, anybody wants to follow me, you can follow me on all the social medias at DeLuca Brains, DeLucaBrains. At most the social media is that username. I also, Gingers does have a Instagram that we put together, Gingers Movie.
Great. IPA will be following that shortly.
Yeah, you can, there's not a lot on it at the moment, but I do, as more develops for that, I do plan to add more to it. You can find me there. You can hit me up if anybody has questions. You can always find me there. I'm usually pretty good at getting back to people and answering any sort of question, especially if it comes to filmmaking. You'll get me talking a lot. And
do you have plans in the future for any crowdsourcing for Gingers, the feature?
Yeah, it's an option. Right now I'm trying to see what kind of people I can get interested to provide funding, and if I don't feel I'm getting the right people or enough money for it, crowdsourcing was another option. And I've been talking to a couple people that I have working with it about how we might go about that. So it's in the back burner if we can't get someone to fund it straight up. That's it. But we do want to get it made. Like it's kind of my goal right now is like, let's just get something made and get it out.
Yes,
there.
Please do.
Yes,
get it done, man. I want to see this. I'm excited for this project. It looks great.
Thank you so much.
But yeah, I just want to say thank you again. It's been awesome hearing from you, and to all of my listeners out there, I hope that you found some encouragement and inspiration to go out there and do it. Put yourself out there. Don't be afraid of that rejection, because at least if you're getting rejected, you're doing something. So as always, until the next episode, stay gold.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Please be sure to rate and review, and click that subscribe button for new bi-weekly episodes. As always, the theme music is provided by The Erica Page. Follow us on social media at IPA Sessions Podcast. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now we have a TikTok and YouTube. All information and links are in the show notes. So show some love and support for these amazing indie artists. And if you'd like to come on and share your journey as an independent artist, reach out to me via email at ipasessionspodcast@gmail.com. Till next time, I hope you found some inspirations for practical application